Hey, how's it going?
Hey, who's this?
It's Tony, DJ Grind.
Is he at the door there?
Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Grind. He's behind
it's
the lady.
DJ Grind. Were you going to let him in?
Well, I don't see his face yet.
You're here?
Yeah, I'm in the lobby here.
Oh, Toby's coming to let you in.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
What's up, man? How you doing? Good. How you doing?
How's it going?
Man?
We're already plugged in. Just put on the headphones. Yeah, we're already recording.
Ready.
All right.
Cool.
Cool, man. Yeah, there's a little bit of
Ladies and gentlemen, live in the flesh.
Well, give him a second to put on his headphones. All
right.
Let me check the camera angle and your...
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, this is good. Go ahead and grab that mic. Let me see if I can get your thing real quick. Not that. That's the camera.
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry. Push that out a little bit. Toby, pull it out so it's kind of... No, towards that. So it's just the mic. Oh, it doesn't do it that way.
It doesn't do that.
That's okay. Can you hear yourself?
Yep, absolutely.
All right, good. Okay. How was the drive in?
Not too bad. You know, I came straight from work, so I was up in Niles.
Nice.
Yeah, from basically where, you know where, well, obviously you guys know where Shelton's is, kind of like that area over there.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a drive.
I live in that area.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
So, how you guys doing? You guys good?
Yeah, we were just talking about some stuff, but we'll come back to that later.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So when Toby, just to kind of, this is going to be like long form. We'll just talk about whatever random conversations.
Okay.
We'll probably interrupt you because you'll say something that'll spark a memory, and then we'll want to go down memory lane and share things.
Nice.
But when Toby called me, not that long ago, he called me and he was like, "Kid, you doing okay?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm fine. He goes, we should do a podcast and interview like local DJs because we're both DJs. We're old DJs.
We're old guys.
We're very old. The OGs, the triple OGs.
I hear you.
Don't know what the new
I'm right
heads
there
do.
too, man.
He's right. This is the reunion of the OG DJ.
Right.
Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. What else are we gonna? We're just kind of bored and stuff. And so I thought of you because you've been DJing a long time too in the area, and so we were going to focus on like local DJs and stuff.
Okay.
And so first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Cool.
And what you're currently working on.
Okay. As far as, all right, well, a little bit about myself. I was born in Chicago.
Oh.
And, my parents, actually, I'm Greek American, so my parents came from Greece, and then moved to Chicago. And, I have another, older brother and sister. And basically, my older brother is the one who got me going into, DJing back in '85. So if that tells you a little bit, I'm a little bit old too.
It's okay, brother.
But, still, I still feel young. Got to just, stay at it. It's just a number. But I started, like I said, my older brother got me started into it. And then we moved into Indiana. And from there, my parents owned a restaurant. So on the weekends, I started, throwing teen dances down in my parents' basement. So I bought, my first turntables. Actually, back then, I didn't have the money for some techniques and stuff, but I had my old realistic turntables.
Oh, yes.
Did you, with the thing on the front with the knob?
With the dial.
Yeah,
you remember that?
That's what I had. That was my first set.
Get out of here.
Yeah, and listen, no, that wasn't my first set. The first set, this is where we interrupt. My first set of turntables, I swear to God, the neighbor had, remember those consoles, stereos?
Oh, the big component sets.
Big component.
Oh, yeah.
So he had two of those, and he was like in a garage sale. My next door neighbor had a garage sale. And for me, DJing, it was like I was a break dancer.
Oh, yeah,
right?
Me too.
And so all the records, all the songs came out on records, and my buddy scratched the record, and it sounded like the scratching, and I was like,
that's cool.
so my neighbor, he had like these two consoles, and he was like, I don't know, just give me $10 each or whatever. So I bought those, and then I took them apart, and I put them in. My dad had these. He used to buy Reuniti bottles of wine, but if you bought a case of them, it came in a wooden box.
Mm-hmm.
And I like put the turntables in those wooden boxes like they were my flight cases, but it didn't have no pitch control. Right.
Oh,
right.
no. Wow.
So I was trying to learn how to blend records, and I didn't know anything. I could scratch. I practiced scratching a lot, but when I tried to learn how to blend records, I couldn't adjust the pitch. So what I did is I just went through all my records, and I was like, I found 2 records that blended. I think it was Jazzy Jeff's Girls of the World Aren't Nothing But Trouble, whatever
Girls
that first single was, and it mixed really well with like a steady B record. They were like the exact same tempo, and I would just play them, and I was like, it was such a perfect. They were the same BPM, and it was perfect.
Yep.
But it wasn't perfect because I had to have the one record on the left turntable and the other one, and I would just let it play. Friends would come over, and I was like, hey, let me show you something. I put them both on, and they were like, they're going together, and I was like, yeah,
right.
Of course.
No mixer.
So when I got a buddy of mine, I think almost everybody had those realistics. A buddy of mine, remember Houston Harris?
Yes.
Houston had a pair of those realistic ones, and I was like, where'd you get that? And I was like, what's that wheel do? And Houston, did you ever meet Houston Harris?
I don't think I have. If I have,
He used to be on 99.1 when they first came out, but he's from Ben Harbor.
Okay.
And he lived down the street from me, and he had those turntables. And he was and where I grew up in Benton Harbor, we used to get WBMX.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
And I used to listen to like the Hot Mix 5 all those guys back in the day. And Houston was all about Chicago house music. And you go to his house, and this is when it was like Jack in house. Like everything was Farley, Jack, Master Funk. And then you go to
I
his
saw
house.
him not like a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
I went to a house reunion.
Oh man.
So anyway, I went to his house, and he had those realistic turntables, and I was like, "Oh, dude, where'd you get those?" He was like, "Radio Shack," and I was like,
"That's right."
What? And he goes, "Yeah," and they were like $89.
It's ironic. We're in LaPorte, and I bought my realistic turntables here in LaPorte, the Radio Shack.
Oh
yeah. You
the
remember
building's still there.
Is it still there?
Well, the store is
the store.
There.
Yeah, I mean the building.
First time I came through, I was telling my wife, I was like, "Oh, it's a Radio Shack," and I told her the story about the realistic turntables.
Yep.
But I got them, and I was like adjusting the pitch.
Yeah, the dial.
I was like next level. It was belt driven though.
Yeah.
Yeah, the belt.
Yep. You're
belt.
constantly though moving that dial.
Moving that dial, the belt.
Yeah.
Look at that belt.
So
I still have them.
What?
I kept them,
dude.
Wow.
And my mixer, the old little tiny little whatever. 3-4 channel little mixer.
Those are money.
The radio are realistic.
Realistic.
Yeah.
No,
Did you have the crossfader just up and down?
No, I had it off side to side.
They had the Beat Junkies did this thing, and they were talking about those turntables. And
really?
Oh yeah, it's somewhere on the internet.
Oh,
You
that's
gotta check it
cool.
out. But I think a lot of us that started in the 80s had that.
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways,
that's
I
pretty
didn't
cool
mean-
of you to hear that.
Yeah. So you started off a long time ago. Started off with the records.
Mm-hmm.
Where at? Like just in your
Yeah, in my parents' basement, you know, and then like I said, they ended up, they bought a restaurant too, so we had, my parents remodeled the basement. Well, from there they were kind of doing like little banquets and stuff like that. Well, I'm like, I was in, junior high, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna start throwing some teen dances on the weekends.
Wow.
Charge like a few bucks at the door. We had a back door. And, I'd made a little flyer, and I'd have little dances downstairs. And because we moved to New Carlisle,
okay,
from Chicago. So that was like a culture shock, because there was like nothing to do.
Nothing.
So I'm like, well, you know what? I'm going to start throwing some dances. Well, all I did was practice, just mixing and then throwing the dances down there. So that, that was pretty cool. And then I started doing from there, started doing like some high school dances. And then it just kind of, went on from there and stuff. So.
What kind of music you play? You would play then?
I was playing pretty much house, but a little bit, some freestyle, a little bit, some pop stuff too, because they weren't into house around here.
The demographics here just doesn't work with house. It's just,
It does. I remember in the 90s, there was kind of this rave thing, and Log Squared used to they used to have parties once in a while.
I remember seeing you there.
Really?
Yeah, at the warehouse. Like I think it was like downtown somewhere or somewhere down there. I remember seeing you throw down. And actually, I remember
I
you
went on right before DJ Funk.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure.
No pressure.
DJ Funk.
I did that. It was funny. So I started telling people I was as a joke, I am the opener for DJ Funk, because they would put me on right before DJ Funk.
Yep.
I did a show in South Bend. I think I did one in Kalamazoo, and then I did one but they kept having DJ Funk all the time.
Oh yeah, all the time.
And
I did a couple for him as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
Man.
Cool.
Yeah, I did one for him. I don't remember this one by Notre Dame. It was kind of like I think now it was back then a hat and t-shirt place, but they had like a big the floor was kind of went down, and then they had like a party in there, a rave in there. And I remember, I went on before Funk too. And then there was another time at Club Fever, I was, Funk came and I spun for him, prior to opening, and it was pretty cool,
Club Fever.
Yeah, Club Fever. We can go there later on.
What was that called before Club Fever? It was
Heartland.
Heartland. That's
Heartland, yes.
Yeah. That was my spot, man.
Heartland.
I DJ'd at Heartland for about
Club Fever.
3 weeks.
Yeah.
We're trying to remember what the factory name was before the factory.
I can't remember.
Grant, you remember?
Man, a factory. Yeah, no, I don't. Dude, I was trying to think about some clubs, and it's like, man, I've spun at quite a few.
Right.
I'm not trying to, I'm really low key, man. You know what I mean? I'm.
So you're a superstar. We get it.
I'm not like that.
Yeah.
I've
Big
never
time.
been like that.
Oh, man.
If the guys, everyone that
Toby
knows
tells
me,
us all the time.
We've seen the cheerleaders, man. Come on.
man, what? I'm really a low key guy.
It's your birthday.
No.
So do you remember well, it sounded like you were kind of trying to figure out ways to get paid, but where was your first full-time, almost residency, although it's hard to have a residency around here locally. Yeah.
As far as residents around here, I would say I would spin every once in a while at Heartland, but when it was sold, when a la carte, I used to work for Ace a la carte in Chicago, so I would spin at they had numerous bars and clubs from
Excalibur's
Excalibur, yeah. I'd spin there every once in a while.
That was the place.
That was a spot. Grant wasn't in the main stage, you know what I mean, but they had the other room, or, once you walked in, but they had other performers there, but every once in a while I would do there, but I did the senior alumni bar. I did, a few others for them, some smaller spots, but it was fun, man. It was, college bar too. The senior alumni bar was cool.
Right.
But when I, really was, living out here, again, I would spend every once in a while at Heartland, but when they sold it, I was the main resident at Club Fever back in 2005.
Excuse me, guys.
So I did that for 5 years as a resident there on Saturday nights. And we packed it, but back then too, I partnered up with my buddy, good friend, MC Dusty. So we formed the DJ Grind and MC Dusty show.
Wow.
So we were really not just about mixing. He was on the mic hyping him up. He's great. He was great on the mic. Grant, I get on the mic too, but that guy,
he's the hype guy. You just
he was the the front guy, and I was in the back doing the work while he was up there and
that's good.
Partying. And don't get me wrong, I had my share of partying too.
What was your first house record you ever spin?
It was I Love My Radio. I don't know if you remember that one. It was by I Love My Radio, My Midnight Radio. Do you remember that track? That was my first. That was back. Yeah, that is an old one from back in 83, 84 when I bought that track. I still have that record. So I still have that record at home. I'm glad I have all my records, all my vinyl.
Oh, the original vinyl.
All my original vinyl from Hot Mix 5. You're saying, I love those guys. You know what I mean? Mickey Mix and Oliver. Farley Jack, Master Funk.
I saw him.
Yeah.
I saw him at a truck stop.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I'd have been a straight groupie.
And
yeah.
I was I was in the truck stop and I had on headphones.
Right.
And it was in Ben Harbor. And I'm just walking. Yeah, I'm just walking in. I'm just doing this. He goes, "Hey, I see you. You must be a DJ." And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, what was his DJ name? It was Mickey Mix
and Oliver.
Mix and Oliver. Yep. And he goes, "I'm Mickey Oliver." Well, I knew who he was.
Yeah.
And I was like, really?
Wow.
And he was just a normal dude. He was like, yeah. And I was like, what are you doing here?
Right. What are you doing here?
Yeah. So I'm just passing through.
That's cool, man.
Is it the truck stop on Napier?
The Petro, yeah.
The Petro. Everybody stops there, dude, on 94.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I remember seeing X-Clan there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
it's a good place to stop.
By the way, this is for the keys.
Van Glorious.
Van Glorious.
Yeah.
This is for the keys, sissy. I was like, What are you guys doing here? ISIS was with them. I can't remember why they stopped there, but you see this big tour bus, you walk through, you get a bag of chips, like.
I think it's just because it's a truck stop and they
It
can
is,
fill up
man.
the bus with gas. But so, I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there.
Just put it out there as a
Yeah.
truck stop.
Just,
Can't
I
make
mean,
some-
maybe, I don't know, dude. Maybe like there's like some huge tour
but
manager.
still, but you see
Hey, if you're going
actual
through Benton Harbor.
stars.
No,
Yep.
listen. Hey, if you guys are going through Benton Harbor, you got to stop at Petro.
Petro, that's the place to be.
They have showers.
Yeah, hot water.
Their hot dogs are amazing.
Huh.
They rotate them out. They don't leave them on that grill all day.
Hey,
Okay,
bro-
so
okay.
all right, real quick question. So when did you? It sounded like you practiced and you had an idea. Like, what made you want to DJ? You said you were a break dancer. Like, how did you? For me, it was just kind of an organic thing. I liked hip hop culture
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted to be a rapper, and I was okay at it. But I mean, I got bars still. Let's not.
Uh-oh.
I'm kid mix.
All right.
But I was like, I just started DJing, and I realized I have this passion for music. I get this. I think when I hear a song, I hear it differently than most people,
Mhm.
Yeah, you do.
and I'm thinking of the parts, and I'm thinking, okay, this will go with this. And then when I'm DJing live, I'm reading the crowd, and I'm like, oh, if they like this song,
Yeah.
they'll like this next
They're
song.
gonna like
Yep.
this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was the point for you when you, like, how did that come about? Like, what was the first time that you could remember that you're like, man, I think I could.
Yeah,
Do
I
this.
think when I was just all that practice, and then in my basement, and then my older brother was doing it, but I wanted to take it to like another level, where he really didn't. He doesn't DJ at all anymore, but he comes by every once in a while and likes to jump on. But anyway, my thing was, I think when I was really doing those teen dances and seeing that the crowd, all the kids and stuff,
Right,
and how
right.
they were just into it, you know what I mean? And I just loved being that creative, having that creative aspect of, like you're saying, like thinking about the next song, this beat could go with here, and just being, it's, there's a lot of DJs that just play their same sets, and they're, where you're going to play next and stuff.
Right,
I always try
exactly.
to, be, different, or have a different remix, or, have a different, energy and a flow, where I've always liked to mix, my house or my top 40 or hip hop, or, or wherever that is. And that's what, I, learned to become more of a versatile DJ, playing different genres and stuff. You know what I mean? And a lot of guys didn't really, spin house in the area. I was one of them that, continued to do that. And I'd have a lot of people come, oh, you're going to play this techno crap all night? It's like, well, it's not techno,
It's not
number
techno,
one.
number one.
But anyway, getting back to your question, I just love to entertain. You know what I mean? And just being creative. I mean, you're controlling the flow, the room, whatever it is. And every event is different, from a club to a wedding to a prom to whatever it is. You know what I mean? So you have to always constantly change it up.
Mhm.
So that's what I've always enjoyed. I've always enjoyed trying to mix different things. It's like, man, and like when you do something that you haven't done before too, it's like, wow, that was cool. Dang, that was like the mix of the night right there. You know what I mean? So it's just having fun, and just being creative.
Do
Yeah.
you go to other clubs and listen to what other DJs play?
Oh yeah, I mean everybody does. You know what I mean? All the DJs do.
Do
you
they
know?
get weird when they see you in the building?
Well, sometimes,
Oh my God, Grant's here. Cover my records.
No, well, sometimes it's positive though. So like,
yeah.
Slice said, hey, Pablo G's DJing at Smith's, I think it was.
Mhm.
I think that's the name of it. He goes, you want to go check him out? I said, yeah, I'll go check out Pablo. So me and Slice, we met at Smith's, and then I text Pablo. I said, we're gonna come check you out, and he walks in.
Grind walks in?
Brian walks
What?
in. Yeah. Tony goes, that's DJ Grind.
That's DJ Grind.
I was like, oh yeah, the wasn't he like at Fever or something? He goes, that guy's really good. He's really good. And I was like, oh yeah, because I never, you were DJing when I was like going through this like retirement, I'm done with DJing thing.
Right.
Mhm.
And so I never really got to see. In fact, when I saw you at Brothers, that was the first time I've ever
Oh, really?
seen you mix. But it was so funny when he walked in, they were like, he's here.
Yeah.
And Pablo,
God, that's
yeah, and Pablo's like, hey, is that Grime? And Pablo came over and he's like, is that Grime? And I was like, yeah, I think so. I don't know, but Tony's like, yeah, that's him. And but there was somebody else with you too. I forget who was with you.
yeah.
But that was right before they kind of. Yeah, that was before COVID, and they were.
Okay.
I don't remember.
Yeah, well, I used to also be the resident at Smith's. You know, you're getting back to like residencies. You know, I was at Fever, then I left there, and then I went to Club, Landing. I was a resident there. Club Noma. I mean, there's a lot of spots in South Bend where Dusty and I really threw down at these clubs, and Smith's was one of them. And we used to. We really put that spot, that on the map, and, we were at Club Bed, Sky, Landing. I mean, there is a bunch of others. I'm not, again, trying to, I'm not trying to be.
Spit your game, brother.
I'm not,
Spit
man.
it.
I'm
Spit your
pretty
game.
low-key guy. And you ask anyone, I say low-key, and I've always just do my thing, man. You know what I mean? I never tried to act like I'm someone big or anything like that. I always just like to perform. And you know what? Our actions are, whatever we do, that speaks for itself.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's how I've always been. I've never gotten involved with other DJs or try to step on anyone's toes. Actually, I've helped a lot of DJs in town. You know what I mean? I've had DJs come up to me, like, man, you've inspired me, things like that. You know what I mean? And it's cool. Hell, I used to see you too, man, when I was a kid. You know what I mean? And,
really?
And not like you're that much older, you know what I mean? We're the same age here, but I remember going, when I was spending my parents' basement, you'd be at Pebblewood. You know what I mean?
You were just an icon living.
On Sundays. Great. I was breakdancing. I was breakdancing out there,
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because when you're doing it, for me personally, I just like the music. I think about the crowd. I think about what they like and what will get them excited.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think about it so far in advance. So Pebblewood was like, when I first did that, it was like just Sunday nights.
Right.
But when I would leave there at 11 o'clock at night, because that's when it got over, I started planning and plotting and thinking what I'm going to do the next week. And usually we would go to Chicago to buy records on Mondays and Tuesdays.
Right.
And so, or Wednesday, depending on my schedule at the time. But when I'm at the record store and I'm listening to the records, I'm thinking, what will the crowd like? What will the crowd like?
Right.
What will the crowd like? And there was records that I liked. I said, I like that. I don't think the crowd will like it. But I still bought it. And then I just remember for a whole week, I would just kind of constantly think, what will they like? What will they like? What'll make them scream? And then I DJ at Pebblewood, and then to me, it isn't that much different than DJing in my bedroom, because I spent so many hours DJing in my bedroom, and so I'm just like, I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this one thing. And in my mind, I'm just thinking, I'm gonna do this. And then you play the record. And if you do everything right, the crowd just goes nuts. They just go crazy and they scream, and that feels really good.
Right.
And then you chase after that.
Yep.
Well, if I made them scream with this record,
right.
Okay, what's the next one I could play? And I just remember constantly thinking about, what am I gonna play? What'll go good with this record? What makes them scream?
So this question goes out to both of you guys, because you guys are always in the club. I was always on the radio. Did you guys mentally create a list, or did you write down? Because a lot of the old head DJs I followed, they would write down everything they played after they played it.
No.
And in my mind, I'm like, okay, I've always tried to have a Rolodex of music in my head, and what's gonna be next? Oh, they can jump this one, boom, boom, and what the question the kid makes in Grime. At the time of make it, do you just do it at the moment of what you think is going to come up next, or you just play what you think is going to mix in with that record in your mind? Grime, go first.
Basically, I mean, it can be a combination, but for me, I'm usually just always on the fly.
Right.
I just have a Rolodex in my head, and it's like, okay, well, it's also too depends on the vibe and the time and the crowd. All that's got to be taken in consideration.
Right.
You know what I mean? One to drop a banger or a high energy, a big room track, or a, you know, or slow it down just a little bit. You know what I mean? So I'm constantly always, thinking about all that. So that's, kind of what I take in consideration on, but basically there's no, I don't have a playlist or anything like that. It's basically like, just, hey, I want to play this track next. You know what I mean? But we know what's the hot tracks. We know what to do. You've been doing it long enough. You know what to do there.
What you do?
I'm like I don't know how to word it. To me, it's mostly off the fly because when I was younger, I'd come up with plans, and but I'd never write out a list.
Right.
I'll give you an example. So I used to DJ at a urban club in Grand Rapids, and it was strictly hip hop, but they love New York hip hop.
Oh yes.
You go to South Bend, they don't necessarily, they're not vibing off of Mobb Deep in South Bend. But if you play like Ice Cube, they like that West Coast Parliament Funkadelic. If you play George Clinton in South Bend, and in South Bend they went through No Limit phase.
Yeah.
So there's certain styles of music. So if I was going to DJ at the Factory when it wasn't the Factory, and I can't remember what name it was then,
we got to find that name.
We'll figure it out. I'll call Slice or something. He'll know. But if I was going to DJ there, I would make sure that I had like certain songs. So I had to have like Down for my. I can't say the word. I'd have that. I'd have Make them say and I'd have like Ice Cube, We Be Clubbing. Like I would have that set.
Right.
I made sure I had that. Right. And I won a DJ battle in South Bend playing Zap and like George Clinton, and but I knew the crowd would go crazy, so I started with More Bounce, and as soon as it said bounce. That by the time the first snare hit, and everybody was playing like current popular songs, but I was like, no, we're in South Bend.
Oh my god,
we're in South Bend.
You dropped that.
I dropped it, and by the time the first snare hit, it was bounce. The crowd was just screaming.
Was it the Let Me See You Moving on the
No, it was More Bounce.
More Bounce. You just said okay.
Yeah, it was More Bounce. But the beginning of that song,
it
goes bounce. But the other thing but like I would DJ in South Bend, and they have to have those records. But when I got there might be some girls or something, they want to hear a slower song, or they want to hear more R&B stuff. So I got to make sure I got that.
That's right. Yep.
And then I go to Grand Rapids, and they love Mobb Deep. They love that boom bap New York hip hop. And so I'd have to play like completely different songs. I mean, I remember when Cash Money was first coming out.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't go wrong with Cash Money.
Right.
So I would do a Cash Money set, but they were so New York in Grand Rapids when I did Cash Money, they were like, what is this? But I actually got the idea from South Bend because they were into Cash Money. So I do all that stuff, and then up in Grand Rapids, it's close to Detroit. So you could play juke music.
Yep.
But you had to have DJ Assault. You had to have DJ Godfather. You had to have those.
Yeah.
And then I would sneak in like DJ Dion or Sluggo or Funk. And I went back. I sold my copy of this. I went back and bought it at Gramophone. But Funk had these like edits that he made of all these popular Chicago ghetto house songs. And I was like, oh yeah, I gotta have it. But I used to just do a set with just those records.
Oh, yeah.
In Grand Rapids, a short one.
Yeah.
Like 15, 20 minutes.
Yep.
And, but then on the way home, I might do a rave in Kalamazoo.
Oh, my God. Dude.
And then I'd just have like this hard house, like Chicago. And at that time, they were calling it hard house, but it was like Chicago's version of it. But it would just be this hard thumping 909.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be a lot of hard house.
Like Underground Construction, those records.
Oh, yeah.
And I'd just play those records, and they would lose their mind. But also, because I like being a turntablist, I remember I had this like Chicago house music record. And I'm DJing this rave in Kalamazoo. It's like, it's like, and they're dancing, they're vibing off. I just turned off the turntable, and I started slowing it down. It's like, wah, wah, wah,
Yeah.
and the beat's like boom, tss,
Oh
boom.
my God.
Yeah.
They lost their minds. They were blowing whistles. Glow sticks were everywhere. It was pandemonium. But in my mind,
That's great.
before I did it, I was like, man, I wonder if I do this thing. And that's a turntable trick, right?
Yeah.
Like
Oh, yeah.
just regular, and it's not that hard to do.
Nope.
So when they went crazy for
Cool.
that, I was like, I'm gonna reverse it.
All right. Oh,
And
here
I
we
said,
go.
I stopped it on a snare, and I said, and I said, and it was like, went all the way up to speed, stopped it again, and then just let it go. And they just looked at me like I was crazy. Like, this guy, what is he doing? He's like an alien. And I said, well, if they like that, this is a rave. Nobody's ever ran doubles of Peter Piper.
Oh.
So I was just like, and it was towards the end of my set. And you know that everybody does that bad meaning bad, but bad
Oh, yeah.
meaning good,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I got to do it. I got to do it. Because and I was like,
Yeah.
so I was like, bad meaning bad, bad. And I'm doing all and spinning around elbows and lips.
Yeah.
And I
That's
go,
great.
bad meaning bad,
Yep.
bad meaning good. And I go, brr,
Done.
I'm out. And when I did all, but so the whole time though, I'm thinking to myself, oh, if I got him with this. So that's why it has
Yep.
to be off the fly. Because if I were to do that first thing by slowing down the record, and they're like, why are you slowing down the record? This is dumb.
Mm-hmm.
Then I would have been like, oh, never mind, went back.
Yeah, it's a lot of times just off the fly. You know what I mean? It's you feel good about. It's like boom, just do it.
Is there a time that you ever wanted to become creative and thought about a trick to do and it went successful for you?
Oh yeah,
Right?
yeah. I've done some stuff like that where it's like, you know what I mean, or just you drop, it's just all the bass. You know what I mean? Just like, you take all the vocals out. It's just the bass, just hitting the,
Right.
the club, and they're like, oh, you know what I mean? Or it's like, you hear a vocal's coming up. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna just hit it right there and just do a little scratch with that vocal right there, bam, 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 and then boom, then hit it. So yeah, there's times where it's like, or I'll take a different beat, you know what I mean? I'm like, man, why didn't I think about this one before? You know what I mean?
Right.
And do something different like that. So yeah, it's just all about having fun and being creative.
Is it taboo to play the entire song of a track?
I mean, a lot of guys do. You know what I mean? For me, when I was in Chicago, I remember talking to some DJs. They're like, man, just keep it fresh, keep them on their toes, and don't mix the next, don't play the whole track the whole time. Sometimes I think you need to, depends on the night and where you're at and stuff like that.
Going on?
Yeah, on the vibe. But when it's that, peak hour, he's like, man, just, keep it, mixing and keep them fresh. That way they're still here, they're engaged, and they, just have them wondering what's coming next.
Right.
I'll never forget him saying that.
Right.
So
Is it taboo? Play the whole record? Good.
It depends. Like, so there's a lot of people that try to do it, but it is definitely a vibe thing,
Mhm.
right? So me personally, growing up listening to the Hot Mix 5,
Right.
the Hot Mix style of mixing was like, and when hip house was very popular,
oh yeah, Fast Eddie.
yeah, they would have like 3 verses, right? But if you ever listen to the B96 mix masters, when they mix it, they would play one verse, and then they, at the end of that chorus, they would skip ahead to the 3rd verse, always, like clockwork. And I was like, oh, that cuts out like a minute. So then it's like the amount that you play that song is like 2.5 minutes.
Okay.
So most of the time, yeah, you could do that. But there were other songs, I got to think of one, where you need to let the whole, like, I remember there was a song called Speed Racer. And that song just had energy from the beginning to end. It had a slow tempo, and then it would speed back up. That one you would have to just let it ride until the break.
Okay.
But there's a certain, it depends on the vibe. It depends on the vibe. I know a lot of people that play like club music and they mix in key. They like to ride the mixes out. So if you watch somebody like Louis Vega,
yeah,
he'll ride it out, but he's riding, it's a different thing, right? But growing up listening to the Hot Mix 5 and WBMX and those guys. They've always had that quick mix style where they'll play a song for like 2 minutes and then they'll go to the next one. And then I liked it so much that I did that with hip hop. So when I have a hip hop song, I'm like, boom, blah, blah, blah. And now when I do my mixes for the radio, I usually only do about one verse. And I bring it in. And sometimes, every once in a while, you'll go somewhere, and if it's like a really popular song, you're like, oh, you cut it out too soon. So?
Yeah, so?
Yeah, so? I just played another banger after that, but they still want to hear the song. So, people are entitled to like what they like.
Right. Yeah.
It just depends on the vibe.
As hot DJs, do we accept requests or not?
I've never really had a sick. So I had when I was younger, I would try to be appealing, try to help and be accommodating and stuff. And man, they'll ask for some weird stuff that they like, but the crowd doesn't like it.
Right.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you ever been burned on that?
Oh yeah, I remember this girl, and it's like, okay, she's a regular, you know what I mean? You get the regulars that are always in there. It's like, man, you got to play this track. I'm like, oh God, I don't know about that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Then they come up again. I'm like, oh, I'll try and get it in. You're throwing those excuses, or, you know what I'm saying? You're trying to, worm your way out of it. You know what I mean? But basically it's like, all right, I'll play it. And it's like, God, why did I play this song?
I like to do, you know what I do though? I did figure this out after a while. I'd get the crowd really, really high up, right? And I would announce I'm about to play this request.
Right.
But in my mind, I had a banger to follow.
Yep.
And I would just have that ready.
Yeah.
And then I'd play the song. They would say, what are you doing? I was like, it's a request. It's not that serious, right? And so they leave. They run to the bar. They order drinks.
Yep.
And then you play the banger and they're right back there on the dance floor. But I would never, like in the middle of a really hot set, insert.
I would not.
And they get mad too because they're like, when are you going to play? And I'm like, when the time is right.
Yep.
Might be a half hour, might be 45 minutes, but I will.
I get that at weddings.
Oh yeah.
Are you going to play my granddaughter's song? Ma'am, it would kill the mood. Read the room.
Yeah, they don't get
if I play that song, it just won't. Well, honey, I'll get it to you.
What I tell them, I have them write it down.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, I'm just playing them in order. But I'm not playing them in order.
No.
I'm playing the ones that might work. And then I can, at the end of the night, say, well, I was able to get to these.
Yeah.
And then the ones that are a little more questionable, I don't play. But sometimes I'm surprised.
Yeah.
Because sometimes what I'll like, if you're at a club on a regular basis, I have them write it down. And then if the same song keeps coming up, then I'm like, wow, they've been
by different people.
Yeah, I pay attention to that.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was at Pebblewood, there was this guy. He always wanted to hear with like 9 Inch Nails or something like that, but it was one of the album cuts, not one of their popular ones, which is like alternative for people that don't know. But and I would say, I don't know, it's not really kind of what we play here. And they escalated it, told the owners. And they said, we come here every week.
We want to hear.
Yeah.
We deserve.
And the owner came up to me and he's like, listen, they're here every week.
That's what I'm saying.
Can you play it just this one time? I said, I'm going to play it. And if it clears the crowd, I'm cutting it off early.
Yep.
I played it, man. It was like roaches when you turn on the lights.
Gone.
Yeah. Dance floor. I was like, there's the dance floor empty. And then I looked at the owner and he was like, I can't say what he said, but he said, don't ever, I'll PG-13 it. He's like, don't ever play that.
Again.
Don't ever play that again. Well, it was far worse than that, but it was like, if this kid asks for a song, don't ever, he says it's not worth it. He pays $5 to get in. And I was just like, okay.
Isn't it crazy something dramatic like that has to happen before you people look, I'm the DJ.
Well, it's weird though. Like I had a friend that I DJ'd their wedding, and they wanted all these songs, and I had the songs, and I was going to play the songs. But while they were eating dinner, I was like, "Well, I'll just play. Let's just play some dinner music, Why waste the songs they want to hear if they're not going to dance to it?"
Right.
So I'm playing some dinner music, and there's one guy had a couple of adult beverages, and he's like, hey, when are you going to start playing these songs? I said, well, as soon as we're ready to dance. but they took forever eating. So he complained, and then it was funny because I had to listen to him, and then he went and got like the bride's. That's why I don't like DJing anymore. But he went and got the bride's appearance, and then they said, "Well, can you play any of the songs? I mean, we did give you a playlist." I was like, "Yeah, but you guys are eating." But okay, yeah. I mean, you paid me. I'll play it. I played him.
Do what you want.
Played them all, and then when it was time to dance, I already played all those songs.
Mm-hmm.
It's the review remix.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then they're like, "What are you gonna?" I mean, I was able to do. I had to go in a different direction and play different songs.
Mhm.
Right.
Luckily, because I've been DJing for so long, I knew enough songs to keep kind of. But it was just a interesting thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
Grind. Song party starter from the get-go when there's nobody on the floor.
Oh, dang. Is it a wedding? Is it, because I do all sorts of events, from, clubs and weddings. Weddings, when no one's on the floor. Well, it depends too. You know what I mean? It's like, if it's, I'm just basically getting ready to start things off.
Mm-hmm.
After their special dances. And, actually, I like to, once they're done with their special dances, I make an announcement, hey, I like to invite all the guests out, the bride and groom, would like to invite all the guests out for this next, slow song. So you get everybody out there, then from there, boom, that's when you hit them with an upbeat song. Okay. So it all depends on too, what crowd you have. Usually at weddings, you have older crowds and things like that. Right. So you want to keep the older crowd a little bit involved still, because as the night goes on, you're going to be, mixing your hip hop, your upbeat, top 40, all that stuff. So I'll try to hit them with maybe like an old Motown track, or actually I've even gone like as far as back as like a swing song, maybe like some Glenn Miller, In the Mood,
Mm-hmm.
Just a boom upbeat, or some Celebration, or some Staying Alive, or some, right. Or maybe some Bruno Mars, just the typical, things. But a swing, kind of upbeat swing track is pretty cool for the older crowd, and the younger actually crowd loves it. But all depends too what, like I said, everyone's different, every event, but it just all depends too what crowd you're working with, because I was at another wedding not too long ago where it's just like, I mean, it was just on. I mean, I want actually more all current, at the wedding, and it was just like pretty much all current. Yeah, you threw in some older tracks, but it was just nonstop. I thought I was at the club.
Mm-hmm.
So it all depends.
Sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Kid, what about you?
Bobby Schmurder at a wedding.
Really?
Yeah, at a bar mitzvah. I did a
You start off?
Yeah, that's the first one. No.
Really? You liar.
I'm just kidding.
I was gonna say, what the
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Get
about?
low and
Right.
Yeah. No, like Grant was saying, like for a wedding, man, the best way to get everybody on the dance floor is you play a really good slow song.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to play, I'll play like a slow song and they're already out there. And then you could play like a cha-cha slide or something.
Mm-hmm.
Something that everybody can dance to. You don't have to be like a really good dancer.
Mm-hmm.
They enjoy it. They're laughing and having fun. A club would be different. It'd just be a straight up banger.
Yeah.
Just a banger. Whatever's the banger at that time.
Mm-hmm.
But you gotta, I rank the bangers.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's gotta be, like it could even be an old school banger. So if you play Back That Thing Up,
right.
Sometimes that works, or Wobble or something like that. I'm trying to think of other things, but yeah. Yeah,
some old school hip hop, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe some
Yeah.
No hands.
Yeah, no hands.
No hands for me.
Yeah. There
No
you
hands.
go.
Girls are like, hey, what do you guys do? Oh, no. Like,
Nice.
What?
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Good
But I remember
way you're moving.
I remember
like,
Cardi
what?
B when she was first when she first started to pop. You couldn't go wrong with Cardi B.
No.
You couldn't go wrong
Right.
with Cardi B at all. And then you would play it, and they were like, and you could play it. Back That Thing Up though.
Oh,
That was
I was at the club when that came. Did I tell you the story?
no.
I was at the club in Grand Rapids, and when it was out, they were just going nuts for it, and it was early. It was like 10:30, and this club didn't get busy till 11. In Michigan, they get a little. In Indiana, it's like midnight's the time,
Right.
but in Michigan, because they close an hour earlier, 11:30 is when they get busy. So it's like 10:30. And I used to just play like old mix CDs, so like old songs that because nobody's paying attention. They're coming in the door, they're having drinks, meeting up with their friends. Nobody's dancing yet, so I'm just playing like older songs. And somebody comes in, this girl comes in, she goes, "Will you do me a favor and play back that thing up?" I said, "I will, but it won't be for a while. I mean, probably like 11:30 at night. I'm probably not gonna play it." She goes, "Why?" I said, "Well, because if I play it now, when everybody gets here,
Right.
I don't want to play it twice." She goes, "Oh, trust me, they'll dance." And she just kept bugging me, and I was like, "Well, it's 10:30." I was like, "All right, fine." They were still having people come in through the door and stuff, and it wasn't packed back. And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I'll just play it at 1 or whatever, I'll push it back." And so I said, "All right, I'll play it." And I played it. And when I played it, and this club used to hold like 1,000 people, and there was only like 80 people. I played it. All 80 people ran out to the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
And my buddy, I had a DJ buddy that was there hanging out with me that night. And he said something about, and I remember because I had it on CD. I didn't have that one on vinyl. I had that on CD. And these were when they had the dual CD players.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, "I'm just going to hit it on repeat. Just let that play the rest of the night." Because he was complaining because they kept asking for it all the time. So it was on repeat, right? And him and I are just talking and we're goofing around. It's early in the night. We're not really paying attention. So you hear, at the end, Lil Wayne's like, "Drop it like it's hot," and he's saying all that. And I'm hearing it, but I'm talking to my buddy, and the song completely fades out. And I don't know if you've ever done that on accident, but the song completely fades out. And I was like, "Oh, crap." So I'm scrambling to try and hurry up and get a next song. I look out, everybody's on the dance floor. They're looking at me like, "What are you doing?"
What are you doing, kid?
It automatically repeats. And you know how the beginning of that song goes boom, boom, boom. It repeats, it goes boom, boom. So there's this awkward silence. The whole dance floor, which is not that full, but there's 80 people on the dance floor. This DJ booth's about 20 feet up in the air.
Oh my gosh.
And so they're all looking at me like, "What's going on? You're not playing any music." And then when it goes boom, 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 they go nuts. Boom, they just start screaming. They just go crazy. Boom, boom. I look at my friend, I was like, "Oh, I didn't see that one coming."
Yeah, sometimes.
So then he bet me. I can't remember what it was. There was it was a monetary wager, and he goes, "I bet you can't play that like 4 times."
In a row?
In a row.
In a row.
Hell no.
And I said, "Well, I'm," and it's nothing against the song. I like this. It's a good song, but at that time, all night long, they would ask for it. So people would show up at, as soon as they walk in the door, "You got to play it." I literally just played it.
Just like
I had somebody request it while it was playing.
What?
They were like, "Yeah, you know what it is, that song by Juvenile, and it's in the background."
Oh, I've had that happen.
You mean this one?
Yeah,
exactly.
I played along at first, and I was like, "Yeah, the ones in the background." It's like, "Girl, you look good. Why don't you back the thing up?" And it's saying it, and I was like, "Oh, you mean the song that says 'Girl, you look good'?" And he's saying it, and I'm singing along.
You a fine mother, what you got?
And the girl's like, "Yeah, that's the one." And
like,
you mean this one?
You are really high.
So I've had that happen how many times?
So then the song dies down a second time, and the crowd's like, "Yeah," they're clapping their hands. "Thank you so much."
Get mix.
Yeah, and it fades out. And then they look at me again like, "What's he going to do? What's he going to do?" And it goes, doom, 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 doom. And they go crazy.
Again.
I look at my friend. He's like that close to me. I was like, I don't get it.
That's crazy.
They really like it. And I said, "I'm going to play that a 4th time." He goes, "Yeah." And he starts getting his money ready. Right? I go, "It wasn't much. It was like $20 or something." So he's getting his money ready. And he's like, "Yeah, I know you'll play it another time." But by now, we're getting closer to, there's a lot more people in the club. And on the dance floor, there's like 200 people, right?
Oh gosh.
So it plays the 4th time, same thing, fades out. Dun, dun. But because there's more people coming in the door, they scream again for the 4th time. Because some of them have only heard it twice.
Right.
So 6.
That's my jail
crazy.
coming to the door.
Six times. On the 6th time.
Oh my God.
On the 6th time, they look at me like, "Okay."
All right, we get it, kid.
Okay.
All right, we get it.
All right.
Wow.
And then probably about midnight or 12:30, somebody came in. Are you gonna play that? I was like, I've already played it 6 times tonight.
Literally.
Yeah.
In a row.
And I was like, ask your friends. And I did play it again at like 1:30 or something right towards the end. But it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny.
Not many times.
Oh my God. Most traumatic time you DJ where no one danced. Grind.
Oh, when no one danced, huh?
Yeah, when no one danced. You're like, what the? It's going on.
Probably never. No, I'm just kidding. There's been, you know what? It's, really not at, per se clubs or anything like that. I'd probably say maybe, at a wedding where it's like a little bit slower to take off.
Right.
You know what I mean? I'm like, oh man, I always try to put on a show, you know what I mean? And try to, get everybody involved and, entertain, but sometimes it's like, okay, you just start off right away and no one's even coming out for a, even a wobble or something like that, or a Cupid shuffle. I was like, okay, hopefully it's not going to be one of those nights. You know what I mean? But, that kind of, gets you a little, thinking like, all right, what am I going to try next? You know what I mean? So either, you read the room again, you know what I mean? Hey, if they got a playlist, you can do as, what they want you to do, as far as, the bride and groom and stuff. But, yeah, it's not a good feeling when it's like, okay, but it all depends too. Was it really early? Are they still kind of drinking and still, they're eating their cake right now? So it's all about matter too about timing.
Oh man.
You know what I mean? But yeah, it's not a good feeling like when, okay, and it doesn't happen often, but by later on the night though, everyone's partying, everyone's drinking, everyone's a good time. But what about you?
2 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Berry Springs Kickers Club. Hispanic family and a white family joining together. The wife was Hispanic and the husband was a Caucasian brother.
Selena.
I had everything. Getting these two families together, it was like everybody knew they were going to get together, but no one wanted to dance with the other ethnic. So I'll play something, like what was the I can't remember the name of the song. Oh my gosh.
Like Danzig Caduro or something?
Yeah. So all the Hispanic people come out and dance.
Oh yeah.
They stop, then I'll do old time rock and roll. Dun, 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 dun. All the white people come out. I'm like, guys, this is a family. Get together.
Right.
And then they'll go back. I'm like, the daughter said, it's not you, DJ Toby T. The family don't like each other. I'm like, why don't you guys get them together? It was like, I was so out. My mind was playing tricks on me. I was like, what am I going to do? I said, everybody's going to think that I suck. It was the most traumatic time in my life 2 years ago. I was like, what is going on? I was like, it was crazy. It was crazy. So whenever I get people together, I'm going to do a wedding. I'm like, so what's the family like? I'm trying to figure out what's, these Hispanic. Oh no, I'm busy. Yeah. I'm booked.
Right.
It's a traumatic time, but I got over it and everything was okay though. But it was nuts. What you get, and probably never for you.
No, that's not true. Well, you know how the comedians say that you bomb before you become a successful comedian?
Right.
I DJ'd a friend's wedding. I got 2 stories. I DJ'd a friend's wedding, and actually a family member, and they were heavy smokers, but you can't smoke inside.
Wow.
So I played their slow song, then I played another slow song. Everybody's dancing real slow. I play like Cha-Cha Slide. They lasted about 60 seconds on the Cha-Cha Slide.
Mm-hmm.
Then I heard them say, I need a cigarette. And they went outside. Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody went outside. And it's just like, to the left. And I was like, they're all outside.
Out the door.
So I'm used to, well, I shouldn't say I'm used to, but my mindset is like, I'm gonna take this to the next level, because that's just what I'm always trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a wedding, right? Mm-hmm. But I can't turn that off for some reason.
That's how I am.
So I'm like, I'm gonna. So they come back in towards the end of the song. And I was like, oh, you think you're not gonna dance? And I play like Wobble, right? 30 seconds in, I need a cigarette. They go right back outside. The dance floor. They ran to the dance floor, and I think that's why they were out of breath. But they ran to the dance floor. They were really heavy smokers, so they ran to the dance floor, and I was like, well, what do I play next? Usher, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just banger after banger. Like
right.
these are, and it's just like they'd last like a minute. And after about the 5th song, I was like, I'm not going to be able to do it. And I had to play like slow songs because that was the one thing that could keep them on the dance floor.
Mm-hmm.
And they still would leave in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So it was just a weird thing.
No, I get it.
God,
And then the
I get
second
it.
one, which you reminded me of this, is I just DJ'd. It was a winter formal or prom at the Century Center for Riley High School.
Okay.
They have it's a diverse group of kids, but the Spanish speaking community sent me an email and said, here's a list of songs. If you could play these songs, we'd really appreciate it. And I was like, yeah, no problem. So I had all the songs, and it was a weird and normally I've never experienced this with Riley before, but that night I did. Usually I play like a couple country songs because, there's some younger girls, they like that song, Country Girl. It was that
girl, shake it for me.
That one.
Yeah.
Shake it for me.
And I have like a remix that has like an intro and all that stuff, so I can blend it in.
Right.
And then, Miley Cyrus, Party in the USA, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do like a little, set like that for those kids. And then I do play like Bobby Shmurda, I play First Day Out. Oh, they go crazy for First Day Out.
Oh,
T
my
Grizzly.
God.
And they start screaming like they can't believe I'm playing it. But so I'm playing music for everybody. But I get to the Spanish music. They have a Spanish Achy Breaky Heart. Have you heard it?
I have heard that.
So they put the song and then I play it and it's Achy Breaky Heart, but it's Spanish. It's in Spanish. They are going nuts. They're line dancing to it. They're having a great time. All the other kids are mad. They're like, why are you playing this? And I was like, because they're having fun.
Yeah,
it's okay, guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to play some songs.
Everybody should dance.
Yeah.
Have fun.
They're like, I'm going to leave. And I was like, you don't need to. I'm going to play the song. It's like 3 minutes long.
I've been playing all the other stuff all night.
Right.
You have to mix it
that
up.
That was not a fun night. And then
wasn't.
and then one time I filled in for Pablo G. I'm not going to say the place, but I was filling in. He transitioned to another location.
Okay.
But they hired him, and sometimes you get hired by a club and they just don't get it going for whatever reason. And as a DJ, that's not fun. So I've DJed in some places where no matter what, nobody shows up because they don't advertise. They don't tell people, this idea that if you hire a really good DJ, people will come. Well, yeah, if they walk through the door and you do a good job, you can keep them.
Right.
But if they're not walking in the door and you're not doing nothing to compete with them, it's hard.
It's promotion.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
So he wasn't happy. He got an opportunity to DJ somewhere else. He said, "Could you fill in for me?" And I said, "Yeah." I probably shouldn't say that he wasn't happy. When he got offered another gig, it was fun for him. Right. But he was like, "Can you fill in for me?" I said, "Yeah, I'll fill in for you." So I get there. It's the bar staff, and there are 2 people there. There's nothing you can do.
They're the ones eating the hot dogs and the corn chips.
There's nothing you could do. So I would play all the songs that people would normally dance to. They would get excited. They'd go out there and dance, but there was just 2 people. By the end of the night, there was like 5 people there.
Yeah.
And it was just not fun it's not as fun when you DJ and there's a couple hundred people and they're screaming.
Right.
That's more fun.
Oh yeah.
That's a mental energy. That's a mental mind.
Yeah, my wife said something to me because she was with me. She goes, "I like it better when there's more people here. You do a better job." And I was like, "What do you mean I do a better job?"
You saying I suck now? What's going on, honey?
What are you saying? But no, that you have those nights. I've had a lot of those nights where somebody hires me to come DJ, and they think because they hired Kid Mix now there'll be 1,000 people there. No, that isn't always the case.
They will be advertised though.
I've had places hire me, and there'd be a lot of people there. And they say I charge too much money, or they give it. I DJed at a place, built the crowd up, and some guy that hung out there at the bar said, I could DJ. I'd DJ if you just gave me free beer. If you gave me a bar tab, $50 bar tab. And the owner said, we're going to try something different. They brought that guy in. A month later, he called me back. He was like, yeah, I made a mistake. Can you come back in?
Yeah, the price is double now, my friend.
Some of these guys, they're just
the club
do
owners
it for
are,
next to nothing, and
yeah.
While we're there, let's hold up. Pause. What do you think as DJs for his weddings and clubs? Do you lower your price or do you stay the price that you're at for as? I don't want to put a number out there because some DJs who can't DJ will say that's what they deserve to get. How do you know when you're ready to get that big number that you're trying to put out there to get paid? Am I making sense?
No, I understand. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it comes down to, experience, and a lot of these younger guys, they think a success is going to happen overnight, and you have to put your time in too. You got to work hard, and build a crowd, establish a fan base. There's a lot of stuff to take in consideration, but know your value. As a person. It doesn't have to be as a DJ. Anything, in life. Don't lower yourself to a certain, this is where you want to be as a standard. That's where you need to be. And, for myself, Yeah, I've worked at, small places. Nothing's happened overnight. I've worked hard my entire life, from DJing to my work to, my cars, things that I build, just everything. But, when it comes to like a pay scale, you got to look at the venue. You got to look at what are they doing? But and then what you're doing, and sometimes you might give them maybe a couple different tiers, like say, hey, look, this is where I'm at, but if we're packing this place, we need to revisit, and I need to be brought up to this level. Right. You know what I mean? So there's negotiations that can be made. I've had my my contracts, like, look, if this is what you want, this is this is what it's going to take, and this is what we'll do and what we'll provide for you. And I can see if things are starting to slow down. Every club has its run. Right. You know what I mean? But if we're packing it every weekend, they're making some money. And I'm sorry if that all you have is one night. If you're not successful on your other nights, but if we're doing what we need to do, we're having your club, your establishment be successful, we need to be, taken care of too. I do it for the passion, you know what I mean? Right. Music, I love the music. I love entertaining. I love feeding off that crowd, the energy, and just mixing. But on the other hand, at the end of the night too, we are providing a service, we are making a club, thousands of dollars, you know what I mean? We should be paid. So it all depends.
Kid?
I don't know. I used to do that a lot. I'd go into I would look for a space. So I was always I kind of got addicted to making a club that had nobody in there popular. Mm-hmm. So I'd find a good space. And I'd say, oh, this is a good space. And I'd approach the owner and I'd say, hey, listen, if you hire me to DJ, I promise you this place will be packed. Right. And then sometimes they'd say, well, I can't afford to pay you, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, just pay me this much now, mm-hmm. and we'll come back. And then when you make this much, and but what happened to me a lot of times, when I came back to them, I said, all right, I did what I did. You had people that you couldn't let in because of the fire code. You're charging a cover. Mm-hmm. You're making thousands of dollars off the bar. Mm-hmm. It's time to step that pay up. They would go, well, what if I just hire another DJ? Right. And when they would say that, I would go, well, you're free to do that. And I'd just start looking for another space. Mm-hmm. And when I DJ'd in St. Joe, it was brutal. I'd go right across the street. Right. I would go right across the street and I'd say, hey, that bar over there, they're packed because of me. Would you like that crowd to be over here? Mm-hmm. They were absolutely. And I said, you only have to pay me this much. And it was the next tier that I wanted from the other guy. Mm-hmm. Right. And I said, but that's for starters. But once I get to this thing, then I'm going to need a little more. Right. Well, they're like, yeah, if we could get those people in here. Yeah. And I was like, okay. And so I go back and I tell that guy, hey, listen, I got a week or two or whatever notice. Right. And I always had DJ friends. So I was like, I'm going to leave this club. Right. If you need a DJ gig, I can recommend you to this guy. And they would say, sure. And I'm going to leave. I'm going to go across the street. But this guy's really good, and he's willing to step in. No hard feelings. And they were, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to another location.
Mm-hmm.
It'd take me about 3 weeks. And on that third week, they'd be dead, and wherever I was at was the new spot.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'd go to them, I was like, hey, I did what I said I was going to do. Here are the people. And it amazed me because every time they would say, well, I can't. And then the other thing that was interesting is they thought they made the crowd. They thought they made their business successful. So then once they got successful, I had a couple club owners do this. They go, listen, I think we need to do this. And I was like, why would we do that?
Mm-hmm.
Why would we do that? They're like, I was talking to some people and they said that's what we should do. And I was like, but that's not why we're busy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
But but like if a friend calls me to DJ a wedding, I'm just like, I got a call to DJ at a grand opening in Atlanta,
mm-hmm.
but I had to be somewhere with my daughter, so it meant that I would have to fly down, DJ, get back on a plane, and be here because I was going somewhere else. So it was like a 1 day fly out in the morning, DJ for a grand opening, get on a plane, get home, and then I had to fly out the next day.
Mm-hmm.
I gave them a number based on what it was worth to me to go through all that hassle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it.
And so I was like, well, you have to pay for the flight. You have to pay for, you're going to have to pick me up. You're going to have to drop me off. You're going to have this equipment and all this stuff. And I gave them the price. And, they decided, we'll just find somebody local to do it.
Okay.
And I was like, okay.
Yeah.
But if they would have given me that money, then it would have been worth it
mm-hmm.
to me to just do it. And it's nothing against them. I wish them nothing but success. But, for me to, and it was like, they called me on a Monday. I had to be there on a Friday sort of thing.
Oh, yeah.
And I was flying out Saturday. So I was like, And I was going to be in Wisconsin. So I'd have to fly out of Wisconsin, then fly back to Chicago and basically linger in Chicago and then fly out of Chicago to go. I can't remember where I was going. We went somewhere. Oh, maybe it was when we went to the Dominican. I don't remember, but it was like, I could squeeze it in.
Right.
But this is the amount of money that I would need to squeeze it in.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was just like, oh. And I told them. And it wasn't that bad. It's what it was. I think it was like $500 an hour or something like that.
Wow.
That's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all. $500.
Yeah, but they'd have to pay for the flight.
Right.
But look at it from their perspective. They'd have to pay for the flight. They'd have to have some sort of car service to pick me up.
Mm-hmm.
They'd have to rent the equipment that I specify.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to fly down with my laptop.
Right.
And they would have to have the speakers and all that. So they had to pay. They probably have to hire a DJ. Right. And if you're a business, I could find the best DJ here, give him the $500 an hour if that's what they charge, and not pay for the flights and not have to pick the guy up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but for me, I really, to me, that's what the amount that I was thinking,
Right.
because it was a real inconvenience to me, and I'd have to plan ahead, pack 2 suitcases and all that stuff.
It's a lot.
But I've DJ'd for $100 or just give me gas money or two, depending on
starting out.
Yeah, starting out. Yeah.
Well, starting out for sure, and then also like friends. Like I'll DJ like a friend's wedding for like $300.
Oh yeah,
$400.
yeah. I've given some big family discounts for close friends and family.
People would be like, "Man, why don't you DJ for us?" Or for us. I'm like, well, I gave you my price, and I always would have. What really get it for me is I'll show them my equipment, tell them what I offer, and then I would always, with me being in the medical field, if you're in the medical field, I'll give you a discount. This is my price. But if you're working in the medical field, people are coming back down from COVID. This is my price. Oh, I just feel that if I give you that, I'm paying for your traverse. Well, yeah, you are, because you're paying for a service. And I'm offering photo booth, uplighting of the room,
mm-hmm.
and it's like, that's too much. And like, but you're renting the Century Center. What?
Right.
You're renting the Century Center, so you're gonna rent the Century Center, and you want to pay me $100? And that's the biggest thing for me. I always found it difficult to DJ for certain people, and I even offer a itinerary app This is plan. You can plan your day. If you're by yourself, you don't know what to do. This is your itinerary app.
Mhm.
This is what we offer. Matter of fact, when you pick your music, it gives you an idea and it gives you genres. And
Well,
still,
I'm impressed with your professionalism.
well,
I might email them.
Oh,
well, to me, it's. I want to let them know that I'm engaged with them as a,
Absolutely,
as a
Yeah.
couple. Especially to this day and age. My last 2-3 years after COVID, I found out that a lot of young people are doing it on their own.
Mhm.
Most of them have lost both parents to COVID.
Yeah.
I lost my mom to COVID in 2021. So that kind of, I don't want to say it pulls a heartstring, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. And especially if they're in the medical field, okay, I offer this much. And it's like, and my wife, why are you doing? Honey, I'm telling you, I get 10 inquiries from that one wedding,
Mhm.
and so on, and so on, and so on. So with me, I start high, and then I come down to a certain percent. But is there a certain percentage we won't come below?
It all depends on the event. You know what I mean? If it's a wedding, I don't mind giving discounts, but I'm not gonna, really go low. I mean, these are like my rates. But yeah, if I know, like or a friend of a friend or friend, you know what I mean? Yeah, I'll definitely try to help you, or if that's in your budget. But
Right.
usually they're pretty good for the most part. You'll get some like you were mentioning. Like, hey man, can you just do for this? I'm like, well, it's not just you're there DJing. I mean, you're like me, I meet with the clients prior, you know what I mean? Or I'll have a Zoom call or meet with them in person. Then I'm typing up the itinerary for them. So there's a lot of, work prior to actually being there. Then there's all the setup, the tear down, you know what I mean? If
Right.
you're doing the ceremony.
Right.
I mean, there's quite a bit, and it's like, look guys, you got to think about all that too. And
Right.
it's a all day. It's not like it's an all day event.
Right. Some
Your day's gone.
Are you gonna be there for 5 hours? Or well, when I'm with you, it's usually an 8-hour ordeal. We're
Mhm.
planning from the get, especially if we're doing the ceremony. What time do you want us to be there? Oh, we want you at 11 o'clock. So, well, this is like you said, all day thing.
Mhm.
Get there, set up. You never know what you're gonna need. What time you set up, you double check and make sure your music is what they want. Or the quote unquote, I want to change my song.
Oh, yeah.
All 6 of them.
No, I don't have the patience for that.
Oh,
I really don't.
you're lucky.
I don't.
Just like-
No, because and it's probably not. I gotta be careful how I say this. So when there's this. I do a lot of the same things. I send them a survey. What do you want? Who are the names? What do you want to announce? What are traditional things are you doing? Is there something new? I gather all the information. But I remember this lady in my contract, it was an hourly rate, and I said 4 hours, this much per hour. After the 4 hours, it's this much per
Mhm.
hour. And then in the contract said that I will show up at the venue. The clock started when the event started.
Right.
Now, you and I, all of us know that you get there way before that, and there's
Right,
a lot
yep.
of legwork. You got to pack all your equipment, put
Right.
it in your car, all that stuff. So I think that's fair, right? So she books the venue, and then literally a week before the wedding, and she paid the deposit. But a week before the wedding, she goes, listen, there's been some changes. I need you to be here. And it added like another 4 hours,
What?
right, to whatever the
Okay.
contract was. And I said, well, read your contract. I said, that's not an issue because I usually take that whole day off because that's what,
Mhm.
I said, but it's going to be, this is how much it's going to
More
be.
money.
And she goes, well, that's not what we agreed to. And I was like, actually, that is exactly what we agreed to. And then she was like, well, I need you to be here because we were going to do this and we changed this. And she was very angry. And I said, me being there is not going to be an issue. Me providing you with the service is not going to be an issue, but it does cost you more.
Mhm.
And she got really mad. She goes, well, what am I supposed to do? I said, well, I mean,
Find some more money.
Either we stick to the original plan, or
and she was, but in her mind, but she did the same thing to the venue. The venue had a capacity of like 300 people. It was one of those barn things, which is really nice and popular nowadays. But she invited like 50 people over, whatever the capacity was, and then told the caterers like that day, hey, we invited some extra people, and so everybody's like, there's something wrong with this lady. But you hate that. But I do remember I DJ'd a thing up in the UP, and that was a fun gig, but it was a slow start because it was right on the lake up in the UP. It was a beautiful wedding. They ate their dinner, but they really took their time. You know, I was like, hey, do you guys want to do your first dance? Not now. We're going to say hi to everybody. Well, the thing is I'm DJing until 11, and it's like 9. It's okay.
Oh, my God. 9?
Yeah, that's okay. Because it started at like 6, and they took forever to eat their food. And they just kept walking around talking to people, visiting. I said, well, guys, we need to get this going.
So you're playing elevator music.
No, I was like, I didn't know what to do. And the setup was weird because I was like, it was outdoors, but they had a spot that they dedicated for the dancing. So I'm like over here in a building. It was like a big building that they had, and that was where they had it set up. And they had the doors open and stuff. And then there was a tent where they had the ceremony. Not a tent, but they had it was facing the lake. It was beautiful.
Right.
And then they ate food in the tent. But it was an outdoor wedding, and they had separate areas. So I'm just like kind of in there just DJing, playing music, and they're out there. And then I did get bored after a while and just started playing whatever. So they come in. I'm not making. They say, all right, you know, they've been drinking and having cocktails, and they say, all right, let's get this party started. It's like 10 at 11 o'clock. And I got there at like 2 to set up, and I drove all the way up to the UP.
Good Lord.
Right. And it was a friend, and I can't remember what I charged, but it was appropriate, but it was also, I was doing it as a favor for a friend. But I said, you know, and I was exhausted. And when I got to the hotel room, there was a mix up with the hotel room. So I got there late. I couldn't get into my hotel room till like 11 o'clock at night. There was like a lot of stuff, and I was getting agitated. And then it's 11 o'clock. And, you know, I was like, what? You know, it's at 10. I was like, I'm just going to do my best to make sure they have a good time. So I'm playing banger after banger after banger after. They're losing their minds.
Right.
I said, well, guys, it's 11 o'clock. I want to congratulate the bride and groom. Thanks for having me. This is a beautiful wedding. It's a beautiful. I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck. You were with a fun group of people. And some guy came up and he said, I'll pay you $1,000 if you stay 2 more hours. And I was like, I got to drive home in the morning. Sorry. Yeah, and that was a weird thing too. In hindsight, I probably should have took the money.
Thank you. Good night.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was weird too. It was such a weird vibe too, because like I'm loading stuff up in my van, and
they still want to dance,
and they're just looking at me. And then I heard the guy go, "I offered him $1,000."
Obviously, money is not an object for him.
Yeah, and they're like, he's got to drive all the way back down, you know. And then I was just like, but I was so frustrated because everything was like that.
Yeah.
And I just don't like, for me, but I'm also. When I was younger, I like I said, I DJed at Pubblewood for like $80. I've done gigs for like $50. If I have to lug those heavy speakers though, if I have to put those subs in the car nowadays, oh yeah, you got to pay for that.
Oh yeah.
And I tell people too, I'll say, listen, I need to bring my speakers, or if it's the venue, if I got to bring out those subs, no, you got to pay, because
that's work.
It's too much, and now I'm old. My back's sore for 3 days.
Right.
All right, give the ice pack, honey.
I have an assistant. I like get that.
Yeah,
that's cool.
You told me to do that.
23-year-old back over there and rip those out.
Yeah.
Do we pay our assistants better than we got paid when we were roadies?
I'll let you answer this one.
You know, you know, I have some kids that will come out and help me out on occasion, you know what I mean, or tear down or set up, like especially when I was, you know, doing the clubs at, you know, and I was a resident, you know what I mean, like Fever or Landing or Smiths or, you know, Club Ed. I had to be at these spots, you know, I'm committed every weekend, but I also did my, you know, do my weddings and stuff. So I would take care of them as best as I can. I'm like, well, what do you guys want? What do you know, what are you guys happy? You know, are you good with a, you know, a couple $100 or $150? You know, what do you want? You know what I mean? And they're like, so I've always tried to be really fair with them.
Right.
And mostly as far as setup goes, I would do the setup. I just really needed help tearing down. You know, all I wanted to do is either grab my case or I have my spare case and then I'm out. You know what I mean? I just would have to fly to get to the club and then just, you know, change and sometimes change in the car on the way there once I get to the lot. You know what I mean?
So they tear down for you and put things away? Or?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I had that quite a few times because I had to be at, or sometimes when you're by yourself, you can't get anyone, you know, you got to do what you got to do and just hustle up and get out. Sometimes I've had, you know, bride and grooms like, hey, can you play another hour? But I try to let them know. I normally, you know, I always put the bride and groom, you know, first because, you know, that's their big day, their special day, you know, but I'm also, you know, committed to, you know, at the club, you know, if I'm the resident there, you know what I mean? I have to be there. So it all depends, you know, the particular night and instance too. Sometimes I'll tell the bride, I'm gonna look prior ahead, like I really can't stay, you know, late. Normally I normally do 99% of the time I can stay for him, but sometimes I just can't. So sometimes I'm like, hey, I really need this kid or someone, you know, just to help me tear down. And I'm like, here guys, here's the trailer, here's everything, you know, you guys good with all this? Which I tell them all this ahead of time and just pay them well, and then I'm out.
Right. You have your kids. Kid mix.
Well, when I was younger, I had like my childhood friends. Like, two of my childhood friends were also DJs.
Right.
And they would, and even when I was like DJing high school parties, I was like, hey, you want to get in this party real quick? They're like, yeah. It's like, well, actually, they would come to me and they're like, how do I get in?
Yeah, right.
And I was like, I'll say you're helping me carry my records.
I'm the Messiah of
music.
music.
Yeah. And they would carry my records in, and they'd get stopped. I was like, no, they're helping me. They're with me. They're my helpers.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And they were like, they did dab me up. They're like, oh, good luck, son. And then I get them in, and that worked out well. But then as they got married and started having kids, I was like, oh crap, now what do I do? And then, but I was lucky. To answer your question honestly, it sounds like I'm bragging, but this is my reality.
Okay.
At some point, I just DJ'd in clubs, and every club that I went to had the equipment that I needed, so I just showed up with records. I didn't really DJ on the weekends. I didn't do a lot of weddings for a while. Right. But I would do some once in a while. I would call one of my high school buddies that were DJs, and I was like, I can't be in two places at once. And they would do something for me. They would either spin at the club early in the night, and I would go DJ the wedding, depending on how close I was to the people.
Right.
And then I would just run to the club and show up.
Yeah.
When my boys got older, and it was my one son, Eric, there were a couple times I couldn't be in two places at once. And they'd call me, and I was like, well, I can have my son come set up, and then I'll show up. So I remember in Michigan, this was like 2 years ago, I had to do like a middle school dance and then like a high school dance. And the middle school dance ended right as the high school dance started. And they were probably about 15, 20 miles apart from each other.
Right.
And so I told my son, I said, here, you do the middle school dance. And I showed him how to set up all the equipment. And I said, just play these songs. And he was like, I got this. You know, and he's not blending songs or anything. It's a middle school dance. So he just plays them, and then he comes. And I DJ'd that middle school dance maybe 20 minutes, a half hour at the beginning. And then I watched him, and I said, all right, I got to go. Bring this stuff. And he goes, okay, and then I had him help me.
Right.
But yeah, no, I never really had a helper. But I do remember like when I was younger, and my son does help me sometimes, and my wife helps me too. She's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah,
That's really cool.
My wife doesn't come out.
Right.
She
My
comes,
wife don't either.
Well, this is my new wife. The first wife didn't help at all. That's why I like the second wife. No, I love this. Nothing against the first one. I'm gonna get in trouble for sure.
Oh boy.
No, but like she it's not fun for her, but she comes and she just sits there while I DJ the whole time. She teases me. What's funny is when I DJ an event and she's there, and I get there and I'm running behind because I'm always running behind. I'm like, I got to get all this stuff set up in 15 minutes. She goes, okay, she knows how to do everything. Wow. So she'll start connecting the speakers and stuff. But Teardown, she's amazing. She'll wind up all the cords and all that stuff and start taking things apart.
Right.
But they think that we're both DJing, right? So somebody will say, "You guys did a good job."
Right.
And then she gives me a hard time. She's like, "Yeah, we're a good DJ team."
Right. That's right.
And I'm like,
"What's my raise? What's my part?"
Which and I tell her thank you, but no, I probably should. But I'm just kind of a loner, honestly. Like, I don't know. Like, it's always weird. Like when I first started DJing, like I like to hang out with people and I like to have friends.
Right.
But man, it was so hard. Like I remember there were so many people in so many different cities that would want to hang out and do stuff like that with me. And then they're talking to the club owner. I'll do this for $50 less.
Oh yeah.
And then I'm like, dang, that's no fun.
Nope.
Right.
And then eventually I got to the point where it's like, I'll just do this myself.
Right.
Yeah. And it's okay. But I don't DJ that much anymore. Like I don't DJ. I really don't. I mean, I do it at home.
Right.
I do it on the radio. But if somebody calls me, I'll go out to do it. But not really. Like I don't go out. I might check him out right tomorrow night.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, you're gonna be at the garage.
Yeah, I'll be at the garage tomorrow night.
Right.
Yeah.
Going down a house set. It's actually my birthday at midnight tomorrow night.
It's your birthday? Happy early birthday,
thank
brother.
you. Appreciate you.
Yeah, so I'll come out to that. I don't know if we'll have this all edited by then, but like, or I'll go. I went to Edgewater a couple times to see what was going on there when that opened, and then I love to go hang out with Pablo. Pablo is my guy. I love to watch him.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
DJ, and he's super duper nice.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I don't DJ that much anymore.
Yeah.
So I don't have a
Grind.
helper.
Do your better half actually know how popular you are?
I mean, she knows. I mean, it's like everywhere, sometimes we go out like, hey, there's, what's up, Grind, or, but sometimes it's just like, it's like at home, I mean, I'm just myself, you know what I mean?
Right.
It's like, I'm not trying to be, or even where I'm just by myself. I just roll out, I got I've met a lot of people just like you guys. You guys met thousands of people throughout the years, and everyone's your friend, especially when it's the weekend. You know what I mean? Hitting you guys up. Hey, you put me on the list. You do this. You know what I mean? And that's cool. That's all part of it. And we've always been, that's what also, made us popular too. You know what I mean? Is like, we were really cool and made them feel special. These people that would come out. You know what I mean? And that's what they want. They're spending money. They want to feel good. Hey, I know the DJ, or I know, you know what I mean? So we always try to do that, and I always try to do that, and I still do, but, sometimes when you go out, it's like, I've, met a lot of people throughout the years, and my wife understands that, my boys do too, and, but I have my close group of friends, you know what I mean, and always will be there, you know what I mean, and I'm there, I got my circle, and I'm always about helping other people, even if I don't know you that well, that's how I was brought up, you know what I mean, I don't mind helping people out, it's just, but when I'm out there, I just want to have a good time,
Sure.
Yeah.
Does your wife know how popular you are, Kid Mix?
kind of, when we were dating,
Mm-hmm.
right? I DJed a lot in St. Joe, Michigan, and I like to go to Silver Beach Pizza.
Ooh.
Mm-hmm.
So we went on a date, and I like to go to the beach there too. And so we have dinner, and we go down to the beach, just walking, just
You
a
notice
date.
how low his voice got when he talked about her?
Yeah,
Silver
yeah,
Beach Pizza.
yeah. So we go for a walk and we watch the sunset. It was a wonderful date,
Right.
right? But this is probably like our 4th date or 5th date or something like
Mhm.
that.
Right.
And we're walking along, and she's talking to me, and she goes, "What?" At some point, I said, "Oh yeah, I DJ once in a while." And she goes, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, I DJ because I think I had something coming up, and we couldn't go on a date because I had to DJ somewhere."
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she goes, "You're a DJ?" And I was like, "Yeah, kinda." And she goes, "Well, either you're a DJ or you're not. What are you?" And I was like, "Well, I was at one time like a really well-known DJ. Like I used to DJ a lot."
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about my schedule, and I told her, I said, "Well, I'm retired from DJing." And she was like, "But you're DJing like 3 times this month." I was like, "Oh, okay. Let me explain.
Mm-hmm.
I used to be heavy into
Yeah.
DJing. Now I only do it like on the weekends for friends or whatever." And we're walking along as we're having this conversation, coming back from the beach to the pizza place. And we're talking, and I don't know, she gave me a hard time. She goes, "Oh, you're a popular DJ." Just then,
Oh, yeah.
a group of people driving by in a Jeep with the top down, a bunch of girls in a bikini. They go, "What up, Kid Mix? Kid Mix is in the house. Who you with?" And they're like screaming. They drive by, and I just look at her,
Yeah.
Is that good enough for you?
She yeah, that's funny. It's great. So she married me, and then no, that was funny, and you couldn't have, and I, in that I was like, it was funny because she did that, and she was like, you could just see the look on her face. She was like, "Of course this would happen," but same thing. I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm just Tom. I'm just a regular dude.
Right.
I
Yeah.
go downstairs, and I've got my little recording studio downstairs, and I go downstairs and I make some mixes, and I come upstairs, and she'll go, "I made dinner," and I go, "Oh, cool. And she'll go, "Did you finish your mix?" And I said, yeah. And she goes, "Did you upload it?" And I was like, "Yep." And she goes, "Okay." And then she'll make fun of me because I'm on my phone trying to do some stuff, and she'll like, to them I'm just her husband.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are the same way though.
Oh gosh.
My kids were like, because I kind of retired when they were little
Mm-hmm.
and didn't do it hardly at all. And then as I got older, I DJ'd some of their dances.
Oh, yeah.
And then we started talking about people that you meet. And they're like, "Have you ever met some famous people?" I started telling them. And they just look at me and they're like, "Why did you slow down? What are you doing?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Because I was trying to raise you." And
Right.
they're like, "That's dumb."
Yeah.
No, son.
No, it's not.
I had a
It's not
responsibility.
dumb.
Yeah. And so it was just fun. But no, I'm just a regular guy, really.
Yeah.
And even in my mind, some of it's funny.
For me,
Because I don't think about that.
No.
I didn't either. For me, when I was on the radio station, I remember being in Soldiers Field. Montel Jordan, I told you this before. Montel Jordan, Mary J. Blige, Boyz II Men, TLC. And I'm looking like, okay, I gotta keep it cool. I've never met these guys before. Hey, can you guys get a pic with me, for the radio station?
Right. No, it's
Even my wife, she was like, "You don't know anybody. Who are you? You what radio station?" And I'll never forget it. I can't remember what year. Power 95.7. Rick Ross came into town. You remember that kid?
No.
He was at the Century Center. Yeah, you remember that.
okay.
Well, no,
I heard
honestly,
about that.
I don't
You don't?
remember. Like, dude, I'm so oblivious. You guys, I don't know how to say it.
She's on the list. She meets me backstage. She's like, "What are you doing? You like mopping up?" Like, no, I'm emceeing the show. What are you talking about? By that time, Rick Ross walks up. People are behind him. She's like, "Who is that?" "That's Rick Ross." he's got a blunt as big as your camera, and the smell of marijuana is just raging. And he hits the stage and he walked past police. He's like, "Excuse me, marijuana. I just like enjoying myself." And boom, and it just went down. And she takes a picture with him. She's like, "Oh my God, like, who are those girls?" Oh, I don't know. They're just hugging. They're rubies. That's crazy. But it's crazy how our family just treat us like regular people. And that's cool. It's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And it's, even now, people will be like, "You're Toby T." Yeah,
Right.
I'm nobody. I'm like, I'm too old now. I'm nobody.
So I was coming home from somewhere, and I flew into the South Bend airport. And when I live, my house in Michigan is right on the lake. So it's hard for me to get in 99.1 because there's a 99.1 in Chicago, so there's interference.
Right.
So whenever I'm in South Bend, I try to listen. And I'm listening. Marcy's on the radio.
Right.
I said, "Oh man, what's Marcy doing on the radio?" This is before, she would get on there. And I was like, "Oh, that's weird. Well, let me stop by and see how she's doing."
Right.
So I call the station. She's on the radio. I called the station. I couldn't get through. I said, "Well, I'll just stop by." I get there. She opens up the door. "Hey, kid, what are you doing?" I was like, "Nothing. I just came by. I heard you. I just wanted to say hi." She goes, "Are you here to meet 2 Chainz?" I said, "No. I honestly heard you on the radio. I thought I'd stop by and check on you and say what's up." She goes, "Well, hang around for like 10 minutes. 2 Chainz will be here." I said, "Okay." So 2 Chainz comes in, and he's with Gino J.
Oh,
right?
yeah. The Godfather.
And Gino, I got a Gino J story. We'll say that for another time. But
Okay.
Gino just basically bigged me up like you would not believe to 2 Chainz people. And the guy was like, "This guy?" He was like, "This is our Kid Capri. This is our Funk Master Flex." And this guy's rolling with 2 Chainz. The 2 Chainz is like, they're not 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz looked at me like, "This guy?" And then the other guy looked at me like, "This guy?" And but Gino, he was so cool about it. But I just kind of laughed. But then I shake hands. They had a concert. They invited me. I said, "I can't." I told my wife I would be home, and I literally just got back.
Oh, boy.
I can't. And
Wow.
Gino said, "Are you coming?" I said, "I can't." Marcy said, "Are you coming?" I said, "I can't." And they were like, "Oh, that's weird. This guy doesn't want to hang out with 2 Chainz." And I was like, "I can't. I gotta go home." So anyways, I go home, and my wife goes, "Well, you're running a little late. What happened? Why?" I said, "Oh, I just stopped at the radio station, met 2 Chainz."
Right. It's like, what?
She doesn't care at all. And my son's like in the room, totally ignoring me, or so I thought. He'd go like, "Did you just say you met 2 Chainz?"
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. He was at the radio station. I stopped by. It's a long story. And I had to hurry up and do something. I can't remember what it was.
Yeah.
And they just thought it was so, but really other than that,
Right.
little stuff like that, they're just like, "I'm just dad." The kids think I'm a big dork.
Dad just met 2 Chainz. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah.
It was funny. But
We were-
they just think I'm a person, really.
Yeah, same here. They know I DJ quite a bit. They used to hear me on the radio, like U93, all the advertisements.
Right,
DJ
right.
Grind, she does shows like,
Right.
they'd be with her friends or something. So I was like, "Oh, it's my dad." You know what I mean? So it was pretty cool.
That's great.
And then see my all my boys, you're like into either cars or, they go obviously school and all that too. But my middle one just, he's big into music and
Right.
DJing and producing and mixing and.
Wow.
So it's nice to see him take it to another level. I've always been in I love my music, but I love my cars and I love what I do during the day. But it was nice, just to have a good balance. But most important was being a parent, you know what I mean, to the kids and, being dad, doing things with them. But I worked hard for them too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's nice to see them, doing their thing. And especially, like I said, all the boys, but especially my middle one, though, because, we're talking about music and all that.
Right.
And, so I love seeing what he's doing. And he works hard. I taught him when I was a kid. I'm like, "Alex, I can only take you so far."
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have to, if that's what you want to do, you're still going to finish school, go to college and all that. But if you want to do music, you could be, and you really want to be well known, you could be the baddest DJ out there. But you really need if you want to get on another level, you need to start producing. start making some music,
Right.
producing, your tracks and or remixes. And that's what he's been doing. And it's cool. He's like, he's playing out in all these clubs or, Chicago or Indy or Vegas. He's played out there in Texas. But even prior to him going to these places, or he would just go check them out and like, Dad, they're playing my mix, they're playing my remix, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's pretty cool, to hear that. And for me to hear him, what he's doing, or hear him on, he was just on Ghetto House Radio, last week. So to hear that, and he's been on all these other stations, it's so, I'm just so proud and happy. You know what I mean?
You remember the first time you heard his mix on the radio?
Yeah, it was on Club Killers.
Was it?
Yeah. Granted, he was doing some other stuff like on SoundCloud and stuff like that.
Right.
But then hearing him on Club Killers, it was just
like,
pretty
boy.
cool. Yeah, my boy. Yeah. And then on, Sirius XM, he was on Pitbull's Globalization. He was on there too.
Wow.
So it's like, man, this is just pretty cool. You know what I mean? To see when we were driving and he was with me, he's like, Dad, it drops tonight. We're in the car and you can see on the name on display.
Right.
Yeah. And it's like, all right, that's pretty cool.
How many boys do you have?
3 boys.
3 boys. Wow.
Yep. And he's the middle one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Our oldest one lives in Texas. And actually, our Alex is moving to Texas. He was also, resident at Brothers on Saturdays.
Okay.
He got into there and he tried out for it and he landed it. And so he did that for how many years? And, it was a great, stepping stone for him, to get that feel. But then he started branching out and producing. And then he was, he spins at Tao in Chicago and other big places and colleges and proms. We did a prom together. I used to DJ his prom, and my boys. I did Penn's prom, and I've done other proms too, but it was cool to do it with him. Penn's prom. It's like then I just step back and just let him watch. Just watching him do his thing. It's so cool, man. As a parent,
yep, it's an awesome feeling, man.
Yeah, it really is to see him throw down. It's like he can throw down.
As parents, do we remember to play the classics for the kids so that they'll continue to play the classics to continue that music heritage going forward?
Oh, absolutely. When I started him, was on vinyl. I wanted to learn the old school. So it's so cool to hear him play like some of the old school tracks with all his new stuff. Wow. And it's like a lot of the new guys don't know that stuff.
No, they don't.
So it's so cool to hear him go back to some early 2000s or even a couple things, like the 90s or some remixes of early 90s and playing them, or these, playing some tracks from Vision, from Bad Boy Bill. Those are the guys that I, like the Hot Mix 5 that I grew up listening to, Bad Boy Bill. And honestly, I got, to DJ with them on the card, on a night, and it was just, amazing, you know what I mean? But, so teaching them like, hey, these are some of the DJs that I grew up listening to. So he's learned that, but on the other hand, he's also playing all this other newer stuff too. And he's got a great balance of the new and the old.
Right.
So it's great that he's able to mix all those, different genres and different styles in there.
We had a Bad Boy Bill at Pebblewood once.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And that was like, I listened to him on BMX, and then he was on B96.
Yep.
B96.
Yep.
And
GCI.
Yeah.
He I was like, oh, this guy's the real deal.
Oh,
it was all vinyl.
Yep.
He had doubles of everything.
Wow.
Stickers on everything. And he would do, I didn't have that skill set, but he'd have the song. Remember how I said that they would drop into the third verse?
Mm-hmm.
He'd have that record, he'd just hold it with his finger like this. And right when he was ready to drop it, and then he would hurry up, get the record. But to watch him mix too, because he mixes with the pitch control on the 1200s. And he just did a set, and I was like, oh, he does this live. Because I used to do mixes for 99.1, but I would track it.
Right.
That way, if I made a mistake, I could do it over. No, not this dude. He had a sampler where he had a sample of Bad Boy Bill is in the mix, and he's live. And so when he got there before we opened, he's hooking everything up. He's like, bad boy Bill. And I was like, wow. He's like testing everything out. I was just like, wow, this is the guy that I listened to on the radio.
Yeah.
And then to watch him do it, and it was only an hour. He only did an hour set.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like flawless.
Oh yeah.
No mistakes.
No mistakes.
And I was just like, this guy is the dude.
He's the music
Yeah,
messiah.
I was like, man, this guy is so good. He's so good.
Yeah, I looked up to him.
Yeah,
I still do. I mean, the guy is
he did so much
legend.
stuff though. You know, he started Beatport.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
He started Beatport?
Yeah.
I made a
What the
record though, and I took it to him. This is a funny story. So I made a house record in like '95, the one I made with Ken,
Right.
and we took it to Bill. And Bill goes, yeah, it's not my thing. He goes,
That's not my thing.
he goes,
Thanks,
he
guys.
goes, no, how did he word? He's like, it's just not my style, but my style is my style. He said, but that doesn't mean that it's not a good record. It's
Right.
just something that I wouldn't play.
Mm-hmm.
And I got a lot of feedback on that record. What I used an 808 kick drum because I liked ghetto house.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And who's the is it Hyperactive? Who was the guy that owned Underground Construction? They had that. You ever go to Hip House?
Man, Hip House on Narragansett.
Yeah.
I was always there.
What?
But they
By the Harlem what do they call it? The brick mall it was right there. Yeah, I used to go there all the
was
time.
it Attack or Tragic? What was the guy's name?
It
They had
was-
Strictly Hype.
It was Alex Peace. He used to work up there.
No, but it wasn't Alex Peace.
No?
No, it was like
Who are you talking? Which guy?
Strictly Hype. There was a record label. The guys.
Oh, Strictly Hype.
There was at Hip House. One of the guys. I feel like his name was Attack or Tragic or something like that.
Okay, yeah, DJ Tack. There was DJ Tack and DJ Tragic.
Yeah, but it was one of those guys, and I took the record up there. You'll love this. So I take the record up there. Paul Johnson. It worked there. Did the DJ booth.
Yeah.
He loved it. Put it in his top 10.
What?
It was like number 7, right? So we sold them on consignment. And so we went to all the record stores in Chicago.
Yeah.
So I go up there. It's Paul Johnson. This is before Get Down was released.
Mm-hmm.
And so they say, we'll take it to Paul, let him play it. And so he was in the DJ booth. They play it through the store. And he goes, yeah. Tell him we need 50. I was like, 50? Which really wasn't much for a Chicago record store. But I was like,
So
50?
that's-
I was like, because I only brought in like 25. So I was like, we need 25 more. He goes, I like that. I'm putting that in my top 10. And I was like, what? He goes, yeah, dude, that's banging. But it was an 808 kick drum and not a 909. And if you listen to anything Bill does, like even when he plays like Ghetto House, it's usually like a thumper and not that low end bass. And the other guy from the record store, it was either Attack or Tragic, was like, yeah, man, the only thing I regret is that you didn't use a 909. And I was like, okay. But I was real cocky. I was like, and these guys don't know what they're talking about. This 808 is where it's at.
Right.
Yeah, but I get it now. But I like Ghetto House. I was playing Ghetto House, and that's more of a Ghetto House thing.
Mm-hmm.
To have the 808 kick drum. But that was funny because my whole hope was, this is how you think when you're younger. I'm gonna give this record to Bad Boy Bill. He's gonna love it. He's gonna play it on B96.
Right.
I'll be a superstar.
Yeah.
Nope.
He said, nope.
Nope. He says it's just not my thing.
It's not my thing, man.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I remember going to Hip House all the time, listening to music. We'd have to put vinyls and you'd have to put your headphones on to listen to all the tracks. Or
oh gosh,
yeah, it was crazy back then. Gramophone.
You got me hooked to gramophone.
There was the other one too. What was it out there? Hell, I remember even calling. I'm like, can you? I couldn't make. I'm like, what's on the? Just play it over the phone. You know what I mean?
Oh, to order it?
Yeah, and then they'd order it. I'd order it that way.
Did George's Music Room have house?
Yeah. They had all kinds of stuff. That was more like Dance Mania. Yeah. But there were back then, like in the 90s, there were so many record stores.
Right.
So many. But I remember, and I think I shared this with Toby, I remember I went to I was in a DJ battle in Chicago.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And it was at they used to play alternative music. It was a warehouse. I don't think it was called the warehouse, but maybe it was.
Chicago, you said?
Yeah.
There's a place called the Warehouse.
No, but I feel like it was called something else. It escapes me, but it was a DJ battle. I saw the flyer at Hip House. Do you know who Bear is?
No.
So Julian Perez had a record store.
Okay.
And Bear, I don't know if he worked there, but he was there heavy. Right?
Okay.
Bear was one of the judges.
Oh, okay.
And there were 2 other judges. I forget who they were. And DJ Sneak was in the DJ battle. This is a perfect example about reading the crowd.
Right.
Right. So I'm a turntableist.
Yeah.
Right. So I know I'm going to win this DJ battle. Right. So I go up there. I'm watching all the DJs. We get there early. We want to, and you have to put your needles on, take your needles off, use your own slip mats. But they have 2 1200s and a mixer with a crossfader.
Okay.
Right. I tell them we need to tape the mixer down with duct tape. They're like, why? I was like, trust me, can I do that? And they're like, when you come up here, you can. So anyways, there's a bunch of DJs that go before me, right? And we kind of do a sound check. I just do some scratching. I'm not going to do what I'm going to do in the DJ battle. I just do a little scratching. Did I do a little extra to kind of try to intimidate some DJs? Yes.
Yes.
Did I do everything? No.
Nope.
So I just do a little stuff, and they're like, okay. So then the order comes out. I'm closer towards the end. Icon was there.
Icon was there.
Icon was there. He was in the battle, but he was like first or second.
Oh my gosh.
So I go like right fourth to last, right? The last DJ was DJ Sneak, right? And so I'll never forget this the rest of my life. So I go up there. I have a routine where LL Cool J's. It's well, back then I had it. I don't know if I could do it now, but it goes baddest man with 10 fingers you've ever met, right? It's from Get Down or something like that. So I go, baddest man with 10 fingers you ever met, baddest man with 10. Then I break it down, baddest man with 10 fingers, baddest. Then I do the elbows and the lips, and I'm breaking it down. That's not the grand finale. The grand finale is I stand up on the table.
Oh.
And I'm doing it between my legs like this, and I'm moving the crossfader.
Your butt?
With my butt. Dude.
Oh, man.
I'm doing all this stuff, right? Because I was like, I'm winning this tonight. I do all this stuff. Bear goes, hey, man, this is Chicago. We mix here. And that was it. And I was like, what is going on? DJ Sneak comes on. He's dead last. He's the last guy. Now, he can mix. He's a phenomenal DJ. He's also a phenomenal producer, but this is before he made any records. And he used to work at Hip House. He was one of the guys that worked there.
Right.
And so he mixes. He's got a new song coming in every 15 seconds. It's like all Chicago classics.
Yeah.
All Chicago
That's
classics.
all you need.
It's all Chicago, and they're just going crazy.
This is the house that Jack built, right?
There's that one. I forget the name. They used to put it on a breakbeat. It was like, it was on the back of the Ultimate. Did you ever have the Ultimate scratch record?
Yeah.
The back one, they had like a bunch of beats, but those were they were loops of house classics. Yeah. He played when he played that.
Marshall Jefferson. Gotta have house.
Yeah, gotta have house.
Oh, he's playing all these house classics.
Oh yeah.
They're going crazy. I mean, and I was like, I don't get it. Why? I was standing on the table. I'm the baddest man with 10 fingers.
I moved the.
I was like, I don't get it. So, anyways, Bear says that, and I was like, that's so weird. So when we get done, DJ Sneak wins the DJ battle, and then he makes his first record was Work It.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And again, it's just a bunch of Chicago classics. And it goes, work it, work it, work it, work it. And then I think his next single was Booty Call. But that was not the one with Fast Eddie on it. Because the original Booty Call, it was just saying Booty Call, but it was Fast Eddie's voice.
Eddie, yeah.
Yeah. But they didn't do a hip house version of it. And then they released that, and that thing blew up, right? But Sneak was super duper cool when I went in there after that point. Then he was at Gramophone working there.
Going there, yep.
And I went in there one time, and everybody was at one of those turntable stations.
Oh yeah.
And they're listening. I had a big stack of records, and I was like, I'm just waiting. And Sneaks up in the DJ booth. He was like, hey man, you want to listen to that up here? I was like, yes. Yeah, I went up to the DJ booth in Gramophone and I played music, and I was looking, you know, that scene with Leonardo, that meme with Leonardo DiCaprio,
Yeah.
and they're like, this is how the resident DJ looks at the crowd or whatever. I was up in that booth, man, and I was like, I'm in the DJ booth at Gramophone, and you're wondering, why are you up here? Sneak told me I could come up here.
That's right.
Sneak said so.
Yeah, it was a crazy day. It was a crazy day, and I just felt like, man, I finally done something. But it was funny. What's funny is people think that everything is always like a lot of success, but I lost that DJ battle.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But I'm stupid. It never stopped me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Some people would look at that and go, wow, man, and be upset. I just remember walking, and this is also kind of a little arrogant. I just remember going, these people don't know what's good.
I
just walked away.
I moved the crossfader with my butt.
You know what I just
I'm
did.
the baddest man with
10 fingers.
10 fingers. You know, these people don't know what's up. They'll catch on.
Okay.
I just got to wait for them to catch on. But the thing is, this battle was really about mixing Chicago house music.
Right.
In their mind, who is the best DJ? The guy that can mix the Chicago house music the best.
Mm-hmm.
Hot mix style.
Mm-hmm.
So he went up there, what he did, he understood the assignment. I didn't understand the assignment. He went up there and had stacks of records, one for each side, played the record, blended in perfectly, transitioned perfectly. By the time he was on this record, he was practically like sliding the fader over, taking the other record off. Next one on, catching it like every 16 beats, and bringing it in. And it was just like classic after classic after classic. And I think we only had like 3 minutes or 4 minutes.
Oh.
It was just banger. And after every song would come on, they would just scream. And I was just like, he's just mixing.
He's just playing records.
When's he gonna stand?
When's he gonna scratch?
Yeah.
When's he gonna scratch?
Yeah. But I just remember those days. Those were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But that's more exciting to me. Having those experiences and laughing about them today.
Right. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
It's fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of those experiences about my kids.
Nobody can take that away from you.
No.
Yeah.
I had fun doing it. It was a couple of years ago now. They do it every once a year, like old school vinyl night. Yeah. It was all no laptops, no nothing.
Wow.
Yeah. So I brought out the old vinyl out, and it was at McCormick's. You know, they do like a house night once a month and stuff. They're like, hey, can you come out here and do a set, you know, on vinyl? I'm like, hell yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I remember, actually I had a wedding.
Let me take you back.
And I flew down there, and, you know, I had a crowd of friends out there, and it was just going back to your roots, a small place, and just being on, you know, no buttons, no nothing, just vinyl. And it's like, you know, you can't re-loop nothing.
Nope.
You know what I mean? And it's just banger after banger. You know what I mean? It was so much fun. And I mean, I prepared for it, you know what I mean, at home.
So, not to cut you off, but do you think having that vinyl experience, because for me, I have the technology, but I have that vinyl mentality.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, I could do this. Things that you would dream of doing with vinyl that were kind of hard to do. Like Cue Points is a perfect example. I had doubles of everything, stickers. So if I wanted to do something, I'd put the needle on the sticker, and that's how I would cue it quickly.
Right.
Yeah.
But the counting and the mixing and the blending and the pitch, I know there's sync, but sometimes it's not mapped correctly. And then you just got to mix by ear.
Yeah.
Do you think that gives you an advantage to some of the younger guys?
Oh, absolutely. I think so. I remember DJing with some other guys in the past, you know, like, what BPM you're at? You know, we were doing like a thing. I'm like, you don't know where I'm at. You know what I mean? You're trying to keep, I'm like, hey man, you got to keep up. You know what I mean? I'm just
trying to tell a story. Read the book.
I'm just, you know, doing my thing. You know what I mean? So it definitely gives you an advantage.
Oh, man.
You know, where the guys are like, hey, I need to know what BPM you're. I'll never forget. I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm just doing my thing here. Just
Did you ever count BPMs though, like back in the day with the vinyl?
You know, I mean, when I would try to organize my, you know, records too. You know, having like, okay, this is gonna be 132, or this one's gonna be a little slower. You know what I mean? So I try to, you know, but I would try to organize my, you know, my crates. You know, like, you know, bangers or, you know, different styles of music and stuff in my crate. So, you know, I wasn't necessarily really counting BPMs at all. I just, kind of, would kind of organize my stuff a little bit, but I just, I really wouldn't count, BPMs that much. I would just go with what I was going and what I felt and, and mix that way.
Did you?
What?
Count BPMs.
Yeah, I'm a nerd, dude.
You're a nerd?
Oh, yeah. You guys think when you see me DJ, it's just like I'm just doing it. No. It's like a science.
I don't think I count BPMs either.
Yeah.
I didn't.
I remember that Icon showed me a program that if you tapped on the space bar, it would calculate the BPMs.
Really? Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I would do with my records, I had 2 crates, 3 crates, depending on where I was going. One crate was the old school. I had a crate that had like Planet Rock and Numbers and like breakdance and stuff in it. And then I had a crate that was current stuff. And sometimes I would repack the crate. The one crate was like, this is what I'm going to play at the club. The old school one was like just old school stuff. Is it?
Yeah.
Did she tell you?
Yeah, she's late.
Oh yeah, it is almost time. But I would I would have the different crates.
Right.
And I forgot the question now because the time threw me off.
Crap.
Oh, we're getting old. Oh, the BPMs. So what I would do is I'd buy those little labels and I would put the BPMs on the label.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then I would put them in order from slowest to fastest. And I had that for every one of my records, but I would put the doubles in one case and then keep another case because you could fit more in the record crate. But I was always, dude, I there's a part that you feel as a creative and you think of how things go together.
Right.
But I'm very analytical as a person. I'm not saying that that's the right way. That's how I do it because of who I am as a person.
Got their own stuff.
Yeah, everyone's got their own.
But I'm very analytical. I do a lot of stuff. But they're gonna kick us out here.
Yeah.
Because we're out of time.
Okay.
Is there anything you want to mention before you're done here?
Yeah, I just want to say, this has been great. I appreciate you guys.
Appreciate you for coming down, brother.
Really, it's been really fun. Maybe we can do this again. I mean, I'm sure we can talk for hours and.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to do it again.
Yeah, there's definitely. I would like to say that, I've, throughout the years, I've, been blessed. You know what I mean?
Right.
And. Thank God if I retire tomorrow for some reason, you know what I mean? I still love music. I still love DJing. I'm not doing it as, I pick and choose what I like to do now. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I still stay very busy, but it's time, also to enjoy life. I missed out on a lot. But I still love it. I still have that passion.
Right.
But it's been a great ride and it'll continue to be a great ride. You know what I mean? It's just been fun and like I said, I've just been blessed, you know what I mean, throughout the years. And but like I said though, I worked hard and hopefully all the other guys, upcoming DJs, they put that effort in, you know what I mean? Because you guys have been there, you guys know.
Ooh, yes.
You guys have put the time in and it just doesn't happen overnight, you know what I mean? Nothing's given to you in life and you got to work hard at it.
Even if you're the baddest man with 10 fingers.
Right? There you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuned into the Cast Podcast. Thank you, DJ Grant, for coming down. DJ Kid Mix, and I am DJ Toby T. Sign it off.
Okay.
Thanks.